Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway. Today I'm possibly a little bit more excited than I ought to be, but I have just done the unthinkable. I've bought a new controller. Model train controllers are the backbone for every model railway. They're the reason we get up in the mornings. They're the reason we're knackered at night time. Smooth, elegant, a joy to handle. It's the controller corner. And it's not just a controller either, it is the most monstrous beefy controller I think I've ever owned. It weighs a ton, so give me a few minutes just to lift it into shot. It is this, it's the Gaugemaster Model Q 4-track cased controller, and I bought this from Hatton's for £149, and it's probably going to be the best controller I've ever owned. Let's just throw it out there straight away. I'm really excited to get this out. If you want to check out the Gaugemaster range of controllers for yourself, I will include a link down in the description. Now you might be wondering why does he need yet another controller? Well, I will try to explain. So for many years I used to use two of these. These are the Hornby HM2000 controllers, and I absolutely loved them. But around a year ago I bought a Gaugemaster Duo controller, which you will have seen no doubt in many of my videos, and I replaced one of these HM2000s with that Gaugemaster controller. And in the year since I did that, I've noticed that the number of motors that I've watched cook on my railway has gone down by about half. Now it's not a huge number, so it's very possible that that is just down to chance and is nothing to do with the controllers, but because of that I have gone off feedback controllers very slightly, and the HM2000 is a feedback controller. Also, obviously manufacturers these days, annoyingly, seem to like using coreless motors in their locos, and quite famously feedback controllers aren't very compatible with coreless motors. They can damage them. So Gaugemaster controllers, at least like this one, do not have any feedback functionality on them, which is obviously better for coreless motors too. So let's see what this one is like. I'm going to break it out and then break it in, I guess, by pushing it through its paces. Something rattling inside, hopefully that's not going to be a problem. Anyway, let's find out what this is like. Let's do it. Alright, so we'll get this baby out in just a second. First things first though, I'm going to flip this over and show you the description on the back, because it's possibly one of the most British things I've ever read in my life. So it says, our Model Q is the best-selling 4-track mains powered controller available today. I can't think of a single other one, can you? But yep, you can have that. It represents great value for money as it offers features such as smooth running, impressive slow speed characteristics, 2x 16 volts AC and 2x, oh blimey. Guys, you do realise I've bought this thing already, right? You can stop selling it now. And this is the bit I like. This enables the running of large mainline model railways, and our limited lifetime guarantee gives you the best chance for many years of trouble-free running. So it's not guaranteed, it's just the best chance. All model railway controllers are crap, but this one gives you the best chance of getting through a running session. And then you've got the info here which says it's got 4 12-volt outputs at 1 amp each, which is really quite good. This is quite monstrous, isn't it? Quite monstrous. Right, no, I'm only kidding. I mean, Gaugemaster, I mean, their tone is very strange on the back of the box, I'll admit that, but in many ways they are right to gloat about their products, because the ones I've tried in the past have been amazing. So I've already noted that the box is taped up, so I have everybody's tetanus friend Rusty ready to help. Let's slip this open then and find out what's inside. I'm a bit nervous about that thing rattling around inside. I hope it is well packaged inside, because it's a very, very heavy box. Yes, and you know what the postmen are like, don't you? I'm only kidding. One of the postmen does watch, so I ought to be careful about that. Right, let's see then. I'm interested to see how this... I mean, it's actually smaller than I was thinking. I thought the thing would be absolutely ridiculously huge, given the fact that it's a 4-bay controller, but no, it doesn't seem massive, so that's good. It stands a good chance of fitting in where I want to put it. All right. Whoa, look at that. Now, yeah, I mean, they're not very aesthetically pleasing, are they? That's for sure. It looks like it's come straight out of the 1970s, and possibly it has, but we don't buy these things for the looks. Oh yeah, that is weighty. Oh, look at this. So you've got a screwdriver to help with the terminals on the back, which is great, and they've even given you some wires to connect your tracks as well. I don't need those, but that's quite handy. And this is the guarantee. I mean, I glazed over this before, but this is quite amazing. So it's literally a lifetime guarantee. It says, we undertake to replace free of charge any parts found defective within the lifetime of the unit, providing the item has not been tampered with and parts are still available for such a repair. That's not too bad though, is it? Then if I open it up, you've got general instructions here. I don't think there's anything on here that would surprise you, but I suppose it's worth reading if you're owning one of these for the first time. Yeah, it's just a little bit about all of the controllers here, it looks like, so it's quite generic. Okay. So, yes, I know what you're thinking. These controllers are not very aesthetically pleasing. It's a bit square looking, isn't it, with this sort of bent sheet metal. And I reckon they've only used round knobs because there's no such thing as square ones. But the quality seems absolutely epic. I mean, I'm shaking this thing. It's so solid. The switches feel nice. Yeah, they feel satisfying. Nice bit of feedback there. And there's a nice, well, there's not very much resistance in the twiddling of the knobs, but I'm sure that won't matter at all. So that's quite nice. Let me show you the back then. So we've got the wire nicely coiled up here. I noticed they're not just using the terminal blocks that they used to use. Well, I guess they are still terminal blocks, but they're a bit better than the dodgy ones that are on my existing Gaugemaster, so that's good. They're all nicely labelled, so you've got your 16 volt AC outputs. You've also got the 4 outputs to the track, of course. I think that's all of them, isn't it? And there's a 12 volt DC output as well. I mean, it's really handy. It covers all bases, so you can power all your accessories with this. Yeah, it's really nice. And it's really compact as well. It's actually not that much wider than my 2-track controller. It is a little bit, but I was expecting it to be double, you know, something silly like that. It's really compact to say how powerful it is, and that's really good. And just think of that, that is 4 separate tracks, that's 48 watts at a guess, yeah, 12 volts at 1 amp, that's a lot of power for this thing to kick out. Right, so let's get this installed. This is really nifty, I'm really pleased with how small it is. Yeah, let's get this installed. No doubt it is quite ergonomically and aesthetically challenged, but as far as functionality goes, I have no doubt this is going to be awesome. Okay, so the old controllers are out the way. I've actually put my Gaugemaster Duo up on the O-Gauge layout, which means I'm 100% Gaugemaster on analog after this. Let's get the new controller into position then. There we go, that's going to be perfect just there. And let's get this wired up. I'm going to go for track 1, track 2, track 3, and on this one I'm going to wire up the turntable. So that's everything I need in one panel. Right, let's get this wired up. I'm going to use the screwdriver provided by Gaugemaster. There's no godly reason to, but why not? It's what we were given, so I'm going to use it. I think I originally set up this wiring so that it was colour-coded, but I can't remember how I colour-coded it, so if the polarities are wrong, I'll just have to swap them over, but I'm not really that bothered, to be honest. I will also say that these terminals are much nicer to work with than the ones on the old Gaugemaster controller that I had. Yeah, they're just a bit smaller, and they're a bit easier to set up. Very good. I like this already. And I believe, once this last one is in and tightened, that is job done. Alright, yeah, that's looking quite nice. A bit neater and tidier than it was in the past anyway. Right, so let's snip off the cable tie. This is very much the finishing move for this. Let's get it plugged in, let's get some locos on and see how this thing performs. I'm not expecting it to be hugely different to the Duo that I had, but I think it needs testing, and any excuse to run trains is a good excuse in my opinion. Okay, right, moment of truth, let's give it some power. Oh, we've got lights on, that's unusual. On my old Duo, the lights didn't used to come on until you turn the knob up a little bit. Yeah, they're going to be flickering actually a little bit because they're not smoothed, but they're not flickering in person for me, so that's pretty good. Right, let's give this its first ever test then, let's see what happens. Right, let's set a direction. I've got old Golden Eagle here on the track. At the moment, like I say, I don't know if my polarity is right or not, so we shall see. Well, it is. Yep, I set forward and it's going forward. Oh, that was a good guess then. I think I've done them all that way as well, which is good. Yeah, that is really nice. Happy with that. That performs excellently. Wow, another thing I've noticed. You might not be able to see this very well. I might fiddle with the camera settings and see if I can get this accurately filmed, but we've got colour changing LEDs, so as you turn the power up, oh yeah, it goes from a red to a sort of yellow to a green, and it's gradual. You know, despite this looking like it came out of the 1970s, I genuinely feel like I'm using something state of the art. You've got that deep 50 hertz hum coming out of it. There must be a monster transformer inside there. Yeah, the whole thing's vibrating, but that's nice for someone like me. I don't know if others will agree, but yeah, that's good. Right. So track 1 is working with a loco on its own. Let's try track 2 and let's increase our askings a little bit, shall we, and make a double header. So this is actually a request that I had left over from Teenage Train Fan, so thank you to you, but it's a killer idea, so I thought this would be a perfect way to test the controller. So we've got my Hornby King class, which has a slightly dodgy motor, so that draws quite a lot of current, and then we have the Wren Castle class, double heading with it, homemade coupling by the way, and that also requires quite a lot of current to run. And then I've got some Western Region Mark 1s as requested. So let's give this a try, let's see if the Gaugemaster is up to it. Let's go for a bit higher speed there. Wow, that is putting the controller through its paces, but they're doing it. I was going to say I'm surprised my homemade coupling hasn't been more of a problem, but it clearly has. But I guess this still demonstrates quite, oh god, the Wren's speeding up. Oh dear, it's going to be quite messy that. Oh yeah, it's got the tender of the king. Either way, power is obviously not a problem. In fact, I would say we've clearly got a bit too much power, so let's cut that off before I do one of those engines an injury. Alright, let's do something with proper couplings on the inside line then. Let's try a triple header. Now that will be a test. Right, I'm being positively evil here. I've got 3 Wren locos, triple heading. They're famous for their high current, so we've got Windsor Castle, we've got the N2, and then we have the standard class 4 in the Deceptive livery. Same coaches. Let's see if it can do this. Right, let's find out. Let's turn it up. Can they crawl? Well, that's something, isn't it? 3 Wrens crawling. Man, it seems... I would say the performance is slightly better on this controller, even though it's practically the same thing. Right, come on, let's give it some. Oh god, yeah. Of course it can. Power to spare. Absolutely fantastic. So, can I recommend this thing? Absolutely, it is going to serve my purposes perfectly. I'm going to be using all 4 controls in one handy unit. I cannot fault it. It doesn't look very nice, I guess that's my fault. But besides that, everything about this is exactly as you want it. If you're looking for a new controller, I would highly recommend checking out the Gaugemaster range. If you don't want 4 controls, that's fine. I think they do them as singles, doubles, I think they do a triple as well. And there's quite a lot to choose from, so link in the description, affiliate link if you want to see Gaugemaster's range of controllers. They are good. This is the second one I've had, and because of that warranty, I'll probably never have to buy another controller again, and I do like the sound of that. So thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you think. What's the best controller you've ever used? Is it a Gaugemaster? Is it a brand I've never tried before? Let me know. Maybe I could try some others, but I think this is going to take some beating. Alright, thanks for watching folks. You take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one.